No lie, it's cold out here. It's like 6:30 in the morning. Nobody else is out here because they're sane in the bed, in the house, where it's still warm. But no, we're gonna talk about how to get out here and run and exercise in the cold.
Time to run it all. I wake up. Yeah. I wake up. Flex. Thumb down now. Check. No drip this. Wet. Time to run it all. No sleep, no rest. Might crash, might wreck. But first I stretch. Time to run it all. I wake up. Flex. Thumb down now. Check. No drip this. Wet. Time to run it all. No sleep, no rest. Might crash, might wreck. But first I stretch. Time to run it.
Don't need those. So I have gone out for my run, and yes, it was very chilly this morning. I think it was 43 degrees according to the temperature that was showing up on my phone. Way too cold for me to be thinking about going out for a run, but I went anyway. I'm actually still a little chilled. I wanted to talk about how to exercise in cold weather, what you need to be thinking about. It is getting so cold outside. I could have waited until later in the day when it warmed up. Yesterday, I think it got up into like the 60s, and it was really nice. Here's the problem with that. Number one, it's too late in the day for me. Like by then, I'm already into doing other things like work. It was a work day. I'm not interested in like running at 11 and then like coming back and showering. It just messes up the flow of my day. So that's a no. Number two, there are way too many people out. I live in a neighborhood that has lots of parks. There are no sidewalks, you know, so it is an older neighborhood and people are out and about. They are walking the dogs because the dogs need to get out for a walk too. They've got the kids in the strollers because the kids need to get out of the house and they need some fresh air and sunshine. And then you got the toddlers on the bikes. So no, I'm not out there doing that then. I like my runs first thing in the morning before anybody else is out there. I saw one other person walking and she was going to get her friend. I see them all the time. They walk really early in the morning, but yes, I prefer to get out there before the sun is, you know, out doing its thing. So it was a little light. The sun was starting to come up. I think it was just too cold. People weren't out there, but yeah. So let's talk about a couple of things you can do to exercise in cold weather. So probably the first thing that's a really big deal is what are you going to wear? And the thing that you have to think about, because this always trips me up, and I've been running for literally decades, but it always trips me up. How much clothing am I gonna put on? Because I have to think about the fact that I'm going to be warmed up in about 10 or 15 minutes. What am I gonna do with extra clothes I got on? And the thing about it is you don't wanna start to sweat and then have your clothes get wet when it's 43 degrees outside. That is just not going to work. You have to think about your own body temperature and how long it takes you to warm up and what you want to feel like. Generally, I will dress with a hat always, because you know that's where you lose most of your body heat. So I'm always going to have a hat on. And this is a new one that I got from Target, y'all. I really like it. But one of the things I noticed is since I don't really fold it up, it like sort of interferes a little bit with the headphones, but that's okay, we're working. But I got this one because it's double layered. So it's got the outside layer that you see here, but it also has an inside layer. So I love having that extra warmth on my head because then I don't feel like I need as much down here because like my head is so warm. It feels so good. Back to the clothing. I think I got off track there just a little bit. All right, so yes, hat. I'm always gonna have on a hat, always gonna have on gloves. And these are just a pair of gloves I picked up a few years back at an event. So they are not very thick. They're nice and thin so that my hands don't start to get all sticky and sweaty on the inside. I just need something that's a light covering. I don't really need anything that's really heavy. These are great, I love these. If I can't find these, then typically I wear like some knitted pair that I probably got from Target for like $6 or something like that. Like, I don't spend a whole lot of money on stuff like that because I lose gloves, probably like you do too. So hat, gloves. Now, what about this? What is all this that I have on, right? This is actually a zip-up hoodie that I had gotten from Athleta a few years back. It's been a while now. The only thing I wish it were longer and had the thumb holes, because what happens is if you have something like this is open, when you're first getting started, it's probably gonna be an issue because you can feel the air like all up here, and the air is, you know, as you have been running for a while, it's probably not as big of a deal. You're probably thinking, oh, that feels cool and refreshing, and you may like it. But I sort of wish this were banded, or that it at least had thumb holes and was longer so that it covered up this part here. So I love this jacket. It's not too heavy, but it's not so light that I'm just like freezing when I first start to run. So you want something that's kind of in between. Like, you don't want to feel like you're carrying an extra 10 pounds on you, on your upper body, because you've got on this massive, thick, like down jacket or something. You're not gonna wanna run in that. You're probably not gonna wanna walk in that. You might want to, but I don't know. So yeah, so think about like how light you need this to be, and then think about like the coverage. Like, this part is actually an issue for me, but I continue to wear it. The other thing is this also has a hood on it. So those days when it's really, really cold outside, I can do this number and it keeps my neck, like I have done this so many times when I first start running, like even though I have on the hat and the hat is keeping my head warm, having this hood totally provides some protection around here. And then after I warm up, this baby just comes down like that, and I start to feel a little more air, and it's right on point, right on point. So that is what I love about having the hood. So this does go all the way up to the neck. This is another thing I really like about this, that it's not something that's open down here, because we know it's wintertime, it's 40-something degrees. We're not trying to have all that open when we're out here running. The other thing is, for us girls, depending upon how you're made and how you like your stuff, I like my stuff to be fitted. So this does have a slimmer cut here in the waist, and you can see it also has pockets. So I can put my keys in there, my phone in there, and I'm good to go with that. Those are great. So make sure you're getting that if you carry stuff with you. And then the other thing is, if your hands start to get warmed up, do this all the time. I take off one, put it in this pocket, take off the other glove, put it in this pocket, I'm good to go. That is why that is helpful. But back to the actual layout of this jacket. Stuff be just popping up and I have to clear it up from up here because, you know, I'm using my phone and not my camera today. Working on a Saturday, I tell you. Where was I? The layout of the jacket, form fitting. So what I don't like is something that has a boxy cut where I'm gonna have like all this fabric up in here, and I'm gonna be trying to run and there's just all this stuff up in here. I can't do all that. What I'm trying to say is, I do not like having a boxy cut because there's too much fabric in here. And when you're running, it gets in the way, okay? So your arms are moving and you've got all of this stuff in the way. It's the same reason you will never really see me out running in a t-shirt unless it is a really tight, or not really tight, but you know, I just can't do all this fabric flapping around. It's just awful. The other thing about having something that's a little bit more form-fitting is, guess what? When it's closer to your body, guess what that air can't do? It can't get all up in there and keep you cold when you're first starting out. So the trick is to find something that is cut so that you don't have all this extra fabric, but doesn't fit you so tightly so that when you start to actually run and need a little bit of air, it can actually get up in there under your skin. All right, so what am I wearing up under this? I don't really have on a whole lot. This is one of my favorite outfits. You guys know that. I'm gonna step this back a little bit. And so literally, if I were out for a regular run, then I would just have this on without the jacket. But another thing that happens, just to let you know, here's the thing I do sometimes. If I am out running for a long period of time and I start to get really, really hot, as I start to warm up, then I might run with this open just a little bit, just to let a little bit of air get in. Generally, I have to be running for a longer period of time. One of my longer runs before something like that happens is not going to be a short run. And then if necessary, hey, I'll pull it down even further. Now, if I get really, 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 truly hot, I have a trick. My husband's usually going out for his bicycle ride, but before he does that, he goes to Brugger's. And I will call him and say, honey, where are you on your Brugger's route? And can you come get my jacket? 40-degree temperature weather, that is not happening, so I don't have to worry about that. However, you know what the girl will do. We'll simply take it off and be like, and keep running. Typically, that's gonna happen when maybe it's like 50s. You know, I can do this in the 50s. I can't do this in the 40s. This is just way too cold. But that's it with the clothing. Yeah. Next tip for running in cold weather is like starting with small periods of time. I'm trying to zip this back up and I can't get it back up. Starting with smaller bursts of time. Like you don't have to go out there and all of a sudden be like, oh, you know, it's starting to get cold. I'm gonna go out here and I'm gonna do this like 10-mile run today. And it's like, you don't have to do that. You can give yourself, you know, a week or two to get acclimated to running in cold weather, especially if it's not something you're used to doing. If this is your first time, definitely give yourself some days and some weeks and figure out how you want to do it and how you want to schedule it and what time of the day and how long it's going to be and what your route's going to be like, you know, so that you can slowly get comfortable with doing it over time, because that's the best way to do it. Otherwise, you're going to walk out there and your big toe is going to be like, I'm not doing this today. This is one of those ones that I tell you, I will forget this sometimes. I'll be like, oh crap, moisturizer. A lot of times we don't think about it, but let me tell you, your face can start to feel very windblown if you have not moisturized it, if it is freezing cold outside. And I'm talking probably very, very low 40s down into the 30s and the 20s if you run in the 20s. I'm trying to remember the last time I run outside when it was in the 20s. But your face will feel that chill. One of the best things you can do to sort of keep it from being like a wind burned almost is to make sure you have on a good moisturizer. Okay, my face I don't worry about as much. My lips I do. So I always put a little bit of cocoa butter on my lips before I go out for a run. I don't use like chapstick or anything like that. Just a little bit of cocoa butter goes a long way and your girl is good. Love it. So don't forget it, because I'm telling you, I will get down the street sometimes and I will be like, crap, I forgot my cocoa butter. Last thing, and this really is just sort of a watch out kind of thing. It's sort of like, watch out for this if you run during this time. And what I'm going to say is typically what's happening when you're running in the cold is it's fall, it's autumn, it's starting to be winter. And if you're not used to watching out for this, this could trip you up literally. And that is all of these leaves that are falling down and they're all over the ground. Number one, they can present just a slide hazard. Trust me, I have hit leaves and hit the ground, you know, because your foot will hit them. And especially because of that morning moisture and dew, slip right on those babies, and like next thing you know, you're picking yourself up off the sidewalk. So really watch out for those leaves. Number two, also because they fall and they cover pavement and rocks and other things that may be on the ground, you can't see what's underneath those. I totally hate it when this falls like that. This just is not nice. I really wish it wouldn't do that. The other thing is you can't really see what's underneath those leaves. So it could be, like I was saying, rocks and tree roots and other hazards and just more leaves, and you never know. So when you're out running in cold weather and it's the fall, the winter, whatever, autumn, and you've got leaves and stuff, just be mindful of the fact that you have to be even more careful than you might have to be because there's more stuff on the ground. And then the other thing that's on the ground, especially when it's really, really cold, is ice can start to form. You think you're running in 40-something degree weather, but what you have to realize is that in shady parts, you know, and it's still dark and the sun hasn't come up, that part of the ground might be even cooler than the 43-degree temperature in the air. So you could have ice formations that you can't even see. And if you're running really, really early and it's still kind of dark outside, you really won't see it. And so you really have to be careful of these sort of extra hazards that are now out there when you're running in the cold. I forgot to say one last thing, and that is warm up before you go outside. I do it all the time. I didn't even think about it because it's just such a part of my routine. So before I even went outside this morning, I had already walked on the treadmill for a little while. It helps to get the body temperature up and to get the blood flowing and to get the muscles ready to go so that they're out there ready to work in that cold weather. I would not advise like getting dressed and then just walking outside into the cold. No. Don't do that. Warm up for a little bit before you go out there. Even if it's nothing but walking in place and stretching, that kind of stuff will help. All right. Love you guys, but it is time to go. I got a lot of things I got to do today, so I hope those tips will help you if you're thinking about running in cold weather, because it is now cold. Don't forget your hat, your gloves, your jacket. Make sure you got everything good to go. Notice I did not mention scarves because I think that's a little extra. You're gonna get be wanting to throw that scarf away. Yes, look at how long you're doing, what your route is, watch out for hazards, all of these things. Cold weather is a different kind of run weather. It is a different kind of workout weather, and you got to figure some things out. Don't forget to like this video. I need your likes and support. Don't forget to subscribe to this video so that you don't miss a thing. And stay safe, guys. Stay safe. Peace. All right, it is Saturday morning. We've got some clothes drying there in the dryer, if you can hear that. I have just finished recording a video. I've gone for a run. I've recorded a video. I'm going to try to get a lot of stuff done today. And yes, it's a Saturday, but hey, look, I got a list. I started on the treadmill. Like I said, the clothes are going. I've already been working on 2 files for 2 legal clients today. So I'm knocking some things out. I got some house stuff I need to do too. But right now I'm gonna work on finishing breakfast. So I literally have this specific way that I cut up my boiled eggs. And it's only 2 eggs. I had half of a container of yogurt earlier, but this is really what I'm trying to have more of, so that I'm not having as much carbs first thing in the morning.